look forward to working with you to make sure that you feel competitive, you feel respected.
A short message to the women of Liberia.
On behalf of all the men of this country, we want to...
A short message to the women of Liberia.
On behalf of all the men of this country, we want to wish you people, the women, the cream of this society, very, very happy International Women's Day. I know the last time we celebrated, maybe somebody was in Cote d'Ivoire. We just want to wish you well, and let me assure you we have a lot of confidence in you, and we look forward to working with you to make sure that you feel competitive, you feel respected in whatever you do, because we are doing it openly to show the world that we have able, capable women to serve this country. Congratulations to you.
A short message to the women of Liberia.
On behalf of all the men of this country, we want to wish you people, the women, the cream of this society. We want to wish you a very, very happy International Women's Day. I know the last time we celebrated, maybe somebody was in Cote d'Ivoire. And let me assure you we have a lot of confidence in you, and we look forward to working with you to make sure that you feel
I'm honored to welcome you back to another edition of our weekly press briefing here in the foyer of the executive. Busy week for His Excellency, our President, Joseph Boakai Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia. Today is March 6, 2026. Today happens to also be the celebration for Liberia, the International Women's Day. However, we all know International was going to be the celebration of the International Women's Day. His Excellency, the President, was briefed and has also extended his heartfelt congratulations to all the world by his appointment of women in key leadership roles in our government, and the first female defense minister, and a number of firsts for women that he's done so far. Participated or witnessed the confirmation hearing of the newly appointed deputy minister for administration for the Ministry of State, as well as the assistant minister at creating the Ministry of Local Government. And His Excellency, the President, did reappoint all the leadership and rename some component of that entity. He also did appoint the National Housing, bring in the manpower that he needs to, serve the country and work in the interests of the Liberian people. One thing the President would like us to convey is serve with integrity. Having said that, the President also, as you know, Muslims in Liberia are commemorating the holy month of Ramadan to provide alms to the Muslim community. And that initiative kicked off during the course of the week at the Benson Street Masjid, where the Minister of State without portfolio, the smaller 25 kg but a bigger bag of rice, the Muslims across the country, so that not just Montserrado, but throughout the 15 political subdivisions of the country, including oils and other food items. He also, of state, will designate someone, but also the leadership of the National Muslim Council, working with the communities, with the chief imams of the different counties to work to ensure that the distribution of District Number 7. And our president reached out to the family of Honorable George, the late, to extend his heartfelt and deepest the LTRPRC, the role and responsibility of the LTRPRC. Now just go strictly to some of the key components that expanded the LTRPRC mandate, coordination with the government, and also they will ensure that LTRPRC, as Liberia's central coordinating institution of all refugee, migrant, actual proper law is put in place. One of the goals of the president is to have a designated commission that will strictly deal with all matters relating to immigration, migration, of Ghana making new land. One of your colleagues did ask about that. But I think this just tells the country that our president is concerned about what's happening. And then he has signed, that is 160. This executive order is establishing a neutral, professional mechanism aimed at ensuring that peaceful, lawful, and coordinated of the 2010 NIMBA County Presidential Committee reports, as well as relevant ECOWAS Community Court of Justice rulings and other documentation, is to ensure that there was consistent and extensive consultation with representation, and this committee included, as you saw within the executive order, people from the community is updated throughout the process, and because he's very interested. And by that example, the president intends to see how this committee is going to work in showing the issue of the Putu Mountain mining concession. And there has been some delay. How these things can be resolved, because for him, he believes that having this concessionaire will really help to boost the employment, context, in showing that there are jobs provided for our people, government with the team that he set up so that they can finally bring that to finalization. Yesterday, the president had a very long day. Key conversations of the cabinet yesterday. We'll go into that very quickly, because yesterday cabinet, the first for inclusive development. And the rest agenda, as you all know, was launched in January of 2025, specifically January 15, in Buchanan Greenback document at the County Development Plan. So the cabinet focused on assessing progress made during the first year, but also the 2025. And the 3.95% of all plan interventions have commenced. Some of them have been implemented, and it shows that there's steady progress in translating policy priorities, strengthening productive sector, and expanding opportunities for Liberians. Under this pillar, about 83 interventions were planned. 8 interventions have this pillar include the agricultural modernization and food security. The government continues to prioritize agriculture as a key deliverable under the economic transformation. The intervention includes farmers and communities, strengthening of extension services for farmers across the counties, support for rice, cassava, and vegetable production programs, development and expand rural development opportunities. Under the private sector development and investment promotion, also stimulate economic growth, job creation, government registration and licensing processes, support to small, medium-sized enterprises, promotion of domestic and foreign investment opportunities, strengthen economic development, the development of policies aimed at improving access to finance for entrepreneurs. Under the component of trade, the cabinet also reported that under that, the government is pursuing measures to strengthen Liberia's trade cooperations and competitiveness, as well as industrial capacity, such as promoting of international trade engagement, development of industrial processing opportunities for local commodities, strengthening trade facilitation mechanism at ports and border entries. Under the component of revenue, strengthening tax administration and compliance system, enhancing public financial management system. The cabinet also emphasized that the measures are designed to ensure a diversified and review made under that component under infrastructure development, which also focused on improving national connectivity, expanding access to essential services, and supporting economic growth. Under that pillar, about 49 interventions were planned, and 3 interventions have been completed, 37 interventions are ongoing, and some of the major interventions include the road construction and rehabilitation, where rehabilitation and maintenance of primary and secondary roads, expansion of feeder road network connecting rural farmer and farming communities to market, improvement of inter-county transportation corridor, upgrading of urban rural road networks. The interventions also intended to facilitate trade, improve mobility, and connect rural communities to economic opportunities. On the area of still under infrastructure development, the cabinet did talk about the issue of electricity. As you know, electricity is a major issue in Liberia, and the electricity expansion and energy access. So the government is currently working to expand electricity transmission and distribution is improving, strengthening the national power grid, implementation of rural electricity and electrification initiatives, increasing electricity supplies to communities, businesses, and public institutions. Under the component of public infrastructure and government facilities, cabinet highlighted upgrading public facility. And then under urban development and public utilities, there's also a conversation around upgrading urban drainage and sanitation systems, strengthening municipal infrastructure, expanding access to public services in urban areas. Also, the cabinet believed and noted that infrastructure investment unlocking Liberia's economic potential and ensuring balanced development across the counties. Under the rule of law, cabinet reported on 35 interventions that were planned, and out of that, 3 have been completed and 17 interventions are ongoing. Some of the major areas under that component include strengthening of the courts and judicial personnel, expanding access to justice services, improving case management systems, enhancing training and professional development for judges, magistrates, and court staff. Reform focused on strengthening Liberia's legal and governance framework, such as revision and modernization of legal and regulatory frameworks, rights under the law, and notable achievement to highlight, following the cabinet conversation in which cabinet did mention. According to the 2025 Global Peace Index, I'm sure we talked about it, I think 2 press briefings ago, out of the 70th out of 163 countries globally. And this represents a major improvement of 6 places, reflecting Liberia's continued progress, that we're doing our best, we're moving gradually. Under the governance and anti-corruption, agenda was extensive, and the meeting ended almost towards close of business, and cabinet will reconvene on Tuesday to conclude the business of the discussions. But from the president, aside from what cabinet talked about, but part of the conversation in the hall was to get of Liberia. As we know, it's no secret that right now within the Middle East, the United States, Iran, and Israel, there are challenges with the crisis in the region. And update from his teams, the economic management team provided and presented an economic outlook, especially so when it comes to commodities such as the fuel, rice, and transportation, and other areas. Also, They're briefing around where we are relatively, because Liberia is a part of the global community. So when there are challenges of such, of course, there will be impact as part of the Committee of Nations. I can confirm to all of you that the various teams are working around the clock to provide readily available, regular update to His Excellency the President. So they're very active regularly. The security team meets regularly to update the President, but also with Liberians in the region. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs team also have briefed the President as to the status. Missions that Liberians are there represented, they're updated, they're updating, back and forth. They will keep, posted. But what the President would like us to inform is that the government is in charge, the government is on top of her game, he's been briefed, there's no need for panic. Should there be any challenge, whether it's pricing, whether it's fuel pricing, whether it's anything, ourselves here at the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs, and once we receive information and approval from the team here, we'll definitely give you all update as to the current status. But as at yet, in the region, I think so far, those are the updates as we have. And tomorrow, the President will be attending the opening, not tomorrow, but Monday, for its court opening. Thank you all so much. I know it's been an exhaustive information for all of you, but we thought that it's important that all of you are on top of what's happening, especially as where we are, despite the different challenges. But the good thing is the government is on top of her game and doing all she can. One thing the President wants us to also share, he appreciates mention that people who are outside of Liberia, outside of their communities, people who are, following from afar, not necessarily supporting, not necessarily partisan of the political party, the Unity Party, just people who are critical. They have provided some honest review. Anything that he's doing, those reviews, and he encouraged all of you who send those regular reviews and update to him to really, send them. So he's, because for him, like I've mentioned here, a number of call it a day. State your name, the institution you represent, and you ask your question. Thank you and good afternoon.
The rest of my colleagues here. But speaking of International Women's Day, by the way, from President Boakai's perspective, and from ensuring that development programs can reach these women across the country, especially market women and women who are into small and medium-term businesses. I want to also talk about the Executive Order 160 or 160, which has to do with the NIMBA land. So, first off, why did the President choose to address the matter through an executive order instead of other administrative or judicial processes? And also, when outcomes from these committees that are usually set up to handle these land disputes, implementation also comes with resistance most times, especially as it relates to the outcome of the committee. How does this new committee that the President has instituted intend to make sure settling the NIMBA land dispute or issue is handled in a more peaceful way? Those are two concerns later that we can rejoin you I can rejoin you if there are more.
Okay, thank you. So firstly, I will start with the NIMBA land dispute. And what I wouldn't want us to do is to preempt that there will be resistance as to the outcome of the review or whatnot. Because this is the first, specifically, or any, not necessarily President Boakai, but any president in our recent memories. Because we all know this land dispute have lingered on for quite a bit now. And so the President believes that setting up this team, they will be able to really bring to resolution this long-standing NIMBA land dispute. And as a student personally of transitional justice, I do know from the look of things where we are, with all of the latest information, Liberia had a period of civil conflict for economic reasons, for several different social reasons. However, and people who are authority on this matter, land is a very serious matter. And because President Bonah Nyei knows this, that's why he set up this team. But not preempting what the outcome will be, whether there will be resistance, but I just wanted to let you know the membership of the committee that was set up, just to reemphasize, the Ministry of Justice, as that institution, the Liberia Land Authority co-chairperson, the chairperson is the Ministry of Justice. The superintendent of NIMBA, talking about the core technical team, the Ministry of Z. Zwagili is a member of the NIMBA Council of Elders. The elders are part of this. And there's also Mr. George, not just one person, women who are involved. Mr. Lansana Jabate is a community leader from Central Ganta. Honorable Yan, one of the key areas of this dispute. He's a former chairman also of the Ganta Chambers of Elders. And then there's the Secretariat, as I mentioned earlier, the Office of the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General of the Republic of Liberia, or a designated representative, provide legal leadership and oversight, ensure county reports, ECOWAS court rulings, and other legal instruments, guide development of a legally sound enforcement framework, LLA, tongue twisting, conduct land tenure verification and authenticate land titles, mapping and validation of land records, lead technical boundary demarcation. The superintendent is there to also coordinate community engagement. So safe. And it is important that all parties, everyone, be involved and get involved with this. Also the security sector, everyone part of the conducting community engagement, making people understand and put the truth where it is. One thing about President Bonah Nyei that I know, you can be his really close, very close. And this is a country of law, so anyone found violating, so we're not going to preempt, but we are very sure that this team that the president has put together, they're technically sound and they will bring out the best of results.
Just a follow-up.
On the order that was signed by the president, appointing and setting up this team, I did mention that this is a way, because if you listen of recent, there have been a number of, as I say, but of course, but one of the key things that the president is concerned about, I can say he's concerned about these developments. That's why this team was set up. You will see in the coming days, based on as information comes and what the challenges are, he's going to work on those ones. On the other question of talking of international women, you mentioned market women, you mentioned rural women. I can say the president has done a number of different things, and you have a whole ministry dedicated to working for the conversation around economic empowerment. They're tied into several different sectors. So when you fix the roads, you open the market, women are able, he was able to support, he's done this a number of times, women in the weaving industry where they face these country cloth, and he's also have started structurally, economically, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection have done a number of things with even removing the kids from the streets, investing in different areas. The Ministry of Agriculture, for example, have given women seedlings and supporting through those ventures. So there are a number of different streams and different things that the government and the president have done, and he's continuing to do. But for him, there's more of a policy. There's policy. There's implementation. Moses.
Thank you so much, Madam PPS, and I'm going to join my colleagues to say international women's
Thank you.
To all of you here. And to re-echo Madam President's, as the President of the University of Liberia, governance resources that will ensure that they fight against terrorists in the region, with Sierra Leone tipped to be the hub for logistics provision that will fight terrorism in the region, with Sierra Leone being tipped as the region that will host logistical support. I'm asking, suspended the former head of NAFA, Emma Glasgow, pending outcome of an investigation into alleged corruption. Now she's been cleared because that Liberia is actively involved with other African nations on if there is any possibility of supporting a candidate in the pending general former president of Senegal, Macky Sall. Will Liberia rally around him? Thank you.
Thank you. Great questions. Yes.
Madam, please, my question is kind of in line with his. Is does the outcome of the LACC speaks to Mr. President's confidence in the independence and professionalism of Liberia's Anti-Corruption Commission, and also for
of the United Nations Secretary General. Yes, the president is briefed about the former president of Senegal, Honorable Macky Sall, serves as one of the key members of the bloc, the African bloc. The president did chair a breakfast meeting with his counterparts in Ethiopia when he went to attend the African Union Summit happening. As you know, the Minister of Foreign Affairs is currently out of the country. She's in Sudan. And part of some of the things that the president have asked her to do is to really reach. It's about what the continent wants, the reforms of the United Nations, the specific reforms, the specific inclusion, playing key role. Being a non-permanent member is important, is great, but also being a permanent member of the United Nations, because Liberia is a founding member. Liberia, the consultation is happening. You will be briefed if a decision is reached as to where it knows and has noted are supposed to happen. He will take those specific actions. As to AFP, publication and whether or not Sierra Leone or Africa will build, information out there, and sometimes security matters when they're in the, if not yet declassified, if it's not for public consumption, I wouldn't be able to give you update, but the ones that we'll give you update on, will definitely let you know. But the bigger conference, there was another question, I think maybe we've covered all of them, right? Is it? Okay, I think.
It was just about me inquiring the outcome of this LACC investigation, especially from the LACC itself as an institution tasked to carry out such responsibility.
Well, the president does not interfere with investigations with him. He expects the institutions to do their due diligence. He expects the institutions to go by the laws. He expects the institution to do their best. What they're supposed to do, where his actions are necessary, he will definitely take those actions.
Just a follow-up to that question. Going forward, from the clearing of, we say that when government officials are accused of corruption, Mr. President is not going to rush into suspending them based on what's going to happen.
Well, Moses took oath to protect the Constitution and the institutions of government. If any individual, any government official, any of his officials who are accused for investigation, they all had issues that was brought to him. When the investigation shows otherwise, I mean, it's the investigation and based on the credibility. So he's not taking action just because, he wants to take action. So he's upholding the Constitution as he was, sworn in to do, and that's what he will.
Okay, Madam, yes, good afternoon. My name is Yubeni Masale, and I work for Sky Communications, Sky FM, and Sky Television, where I think a citizen of Liberia were mobbed to death, one Austin. Thank you so much.
You wanna ask something as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. President began his asking the president that food is not just enough. They want Ramadan to be declared, this Ramadan to be declared a holiday.
On Yugbene's comment or question, no Liberian, absolutely no Liberian is seen as a lower class citizen. Not with President Bonah. It's very clear. When it says everyone is equal, regardless of your age, your sex, your religion, your belief, your creed, or whatever, President birthed to him and his people. So President Boakai is also very sad of the news of just that gross. He takes the lowest of people, the youngest. Whether you are a cleaner, he respects you because he believes that if he doesn't believe anything, I appoint people based on their competence. Even in the counties, the appointment, people say, oh, you're bringing this person from this county, why this other county? He says, when I'm appointing people, I'm not looking at metrics to say, oh, county A, President Sirleaf time, President Weah time, even President Boakai. So Muslims have continuously called for a holiday because they believe that the cow meat distribution as well, the cow's distribution during the Abraham Day, or what we call Eid Adha. And you also have supported Muslims to go to perform the pilgrimage. He's done a number of different interventions as to whether he's have reached out directly to him to say, here's our petition, here's our statement, here's our papers. That they have not done. So what you saying, it was just like someone mentioned on the radio, or because the people when they interview them.
But the conversation. In passing.
Oh, not even in passing.
Whatever way.
Because just last year, because the president also hosts the annual Ramadan, wanted to have a national holiday for Muslims. And if listening to that, in fact, I can recall that I was informed by one of the leaders.
Was preached religious tolerance. Having listened to that call from the Muslims, what stops Mr. President from issuing
the decision? Unfortunately, I'm not. But I mean, the president makes a decision. When the president makes it, you'll be informed. The president. Of course not. Does he have to make it? Of course not. You know, because if it was law, if it was a legal decision, if it was something legal that he must do, is it something that I want? Of course, who will not be happy for one more holiday after you finish, breaking your fast the whole time, 30 days you fasting, you can rely on it. If he does it, will I be happy? Of course, like I mentioned, I'll be very happy. But we will let you know. The president have not taken the decision. Will he take it? We'll leave that. And it's been a wonderful